So I've come to the end of my tape and it leaves a really nice cardboard tube. So I'm going to see what I can make out of that because I don't want to put it in the bin. I want to make something out of it. So I've decided I'm going to make a little pot with a lid that fits on it. And I've got some of this packaging. I'm not sure what it's made out of. It feels like paper, but it isn't. I'm sure it's plastic. So what I'm going to do is make my base out of that, which should be quite easy to do. All I need to do is draw around this for my base and then draw around it again, but kind of leaving a bit of a gap for my top. Because I want my top to fit over. So that should do. And now just cut those out. Now, if I could be bothered, I probably could have got my laser out and cut this out using my laser. But I'm not going to get my laser all the way out just to cut out these circles. I'm really sorry I haven't been able to release videos on this channel for a while. And that's because I've moved and I've also had really bad case of shingles. So unfortunately, I couldn't make any videos. So now what I'm going to do is glue that base on. And because it's a plastic rather than a paper, yeah, I wonder if I should put... Okay. I've changed my mind. I'm not going to use that. I'll use it for something else. What I'm going to use is this card because it's nice and thick. It's a piece of card that I already glued together quite a while ago. And I think this is going to give me a stronger base. So I'm going to cut around that. That's my base. And then again, do one that is slightly larger all the way around for my top. Now, because this is thicker, I'm probably going to have a job to cut this. Oh no, it does seem to cut all right. I think the best way to do it is to cut it down like this and then trim it all up. I just think this is going to glue together better, and also I'll be able to cover it easier once I start to cover it and decorate it. It's always good when you're doing crafting to think of one thing and then think, actually, that's not going to work. That's not a failure. That is just changing your mind, isn't it? So there's the base. That fits on there quite well. And now I'm going to do the same for the top. Well, I've got all my bits to cut out now. So I've got my base and I've got my top. And I've cut two bits out for the top because that bit's going to go in the middle there and hold it and stop it moving around. All I'm going to use is a little bit of wood glue on this to glue this up with. Wood glue is just PVA glue. Put it all the way around the edge. It doesn't matter if I overlap a little bit because once it's dry, it will go clear and disappear anyway. I want to make sure I've got a really good coating of that on there. Pop that on there like that, making sure it's as level as possible. I can always trim it up a little bit if it's not quite right, because I'm going to cover that anyway. And then I'm going to pop a weight on it and leave that to dry for about half an hour. That should be fine. Well, that's nearly dry now, so I'm going to glue this to the top and here. So I've got this lid going on there. And again, I'm going to be using is the white glue and pop a weight on it. Spread that out a little bit, all the way around the edges, like that. And put another little weight on that, and leave that for about half an hour. And while that is actually drying, what I'm going to do is just go around here and clean this up anywhere where I haven't cut it well. So it's nice and flush with this tube. And while that's setting, what I've got here is some ready mixed filler, and all I'm going to do is push some into these holes here so that you can't see those holes. I'm going to fill them up completely, and again, this will take about 15 minutes to dry. If you haven't got the patience for it, then the best thing to do is stick a hairdryer on it. That'll dry it really quickly. I'm pushing it in quite well, and I'm overlapping it a little bit. Once it's dry, so you can sand it down, and then I can sand it. Got a nice smooth base. Well, that's dry enough now, and I can sand that down. All I'm going is around it like this, just to smooth it out with a little bit of sandpaper. Now, because this is card, it will be a little bit more flexible, and there is a possibility that this could pop out of any of these joints. And I'm going to, once I've finished sanding that off and I'm happy with it, now what I'm going to do is, with the glue, get a little bit on my finger like this, and then go around, put some glue on here. And if there's any bits that are loose or moving around in there, that should fill that and stop that from happening. So then we've got the lid and the base done. And we'll give that probably another half an hour or a quick blast with a hairdryer for 5 minutes to dry off, and then we can decorate it. It's a quick project, isn't it? And it's another project where you're upcycling something rather than putting it in the bin. And while that's drying, what I'm going to do is prepare my sealer for this before I decorate. I've got some white acrylic paint here, and I'm going to put some of that in there. A little bit of water to thin it out, because this first coat I want it to be quite thin because it'll also show up this first coat if there's anywhere else that you need to rub down. So mixing that into my water, and then on top of that I'm going to put a little bit of PVA or white school glue and then mix that in as well. You want to make sure it's fully mixed in because then you get a much better coverage with this. It's still a little bit thick, so I'm going to add a tiny bit more water to it and then mix that in. It makes a great sealer for things like this, resin-free, any casting powder and cardboard. I really like it, and as I'm going to decorate this on the outside, I want it to have a really nice seal to it. It'll also mean if I add decoupage or anything like that to it, when I put it on, I'll be able to move it around a little bit because it'll have this coat on. It won't absorb straight into that cardboard. Yeah, that's ready. So all I've got to do now is wait for that to dry. Do you like these? I made these on my other channel. I made these in a really weird way on my resin channel, and I use them all the time for water, for brushes and inks and things, and they're so useful. Well, they're all nice and dry, and I'm ready to paint these. I'm going to paint them all over, including the inside, and give it a couple of coats. Fairly simple. It will dry really quick on this cardboard as well. Making sure you get everywhere and all in the corners. And the base as well. You want to make sure you cover the base. Just want to say thank you for everyone that supported me while I was off as well, that sent me coffees. Thank you so much. Your names are coming up now. If you'd like to buy me a coffee to help me keep this channel going, then the link for that is in the description below. It's very much appreciated, and you get on my coffee board. I'm probably only going to be releasing one video a week for the next few weeks, because I've got so much to catch up on after moving and being ill. And if anyone would like a tour of my new studio, both my resin and my crafting one, then let me know in the comments below and I'll do that for you. I'll give you a tour. Well, these are all dry now and the lid fits on there really well. What I'm going to do is cover them. I've got some of this kind of steampunky paper. I love it, but steampunk seems to be out of fashion at the moment, but I don't care about that. I'm still going to do it with this. All I'm going to do is cut a strip that's the width of the pot. And if it's not exact, it doesn't matter. I can always cut it down. So I'd rather cut it slightly larger than shorter. Now this isn't going to go all the way around. There is no doubt about it. I'm going to have to stick a bit on it. But that should go on there like that. It's pretty close. As I said, it's only going to go round and it's going to leave a gap there. So what I'm going to do is put that in that gap, which is the diver, I suppose. I'm going to cut these little rivets off because I don't want them on there at the moment, but I am going to use them. I'm going to put them to one side, and I'll show you how I'm going to use those to cover up the join. So yeah, that'll fit on there. Now before I do that, what I'm going to do is put a final coat of paint on this, and I'm going to use like a bronze colour, I think, because I think the bronze colour will really go well if any of it shows through with the final piece when I've covered it up. So I've not decided which one of these I'm going to put on for the top. I think I'm going to go with this one because I really like that, and it suits what I've already got here. And this is a metallic bronze paint, and it should cover this up really well now that it's had the 2 coats of sealer. Now that's nice and dry, what I can do is put these on, but I don't want all of this. I want to make sure that I get the nice patterns on here. So I'm going to roughly mark across here like this, so it's in half, and then I can place these where I kind of want them. So I've got the nicer bits of these sticking on here, each half. Yeah, so I'm happy with that there, and I'm happy with that there. All I need to do now is cut those down along those lines, and then I can glue these onto here quite easily using some white glue. And I've kept the rivet bits to hide the seams. So I'm going to paint my white glue on here fairly thick, because I don't want it to dry out while I'm doing it, while I'm placing it on here. And then lining that up on there and then holding it on there until it's dry. I can trim this up the bottom once it is dry. Hold that on there for a few seconds. Okay, that should do that. And now I can do the same thing for this bit here. So now that's covered, what I'll do is I'll leave that to fully dry. It won't take long, about half an hour, and then I can finish it off. In the meantime, I'm going to put this onto the lid in exactly the same way, just using some white glue. Well, that's nearly finished now. I really like how it's come out. And I think putting the rivets down each side as well finishes it off. It makes it look a lot neater. And I also put the rivets around the top of the lid. I do think that's come out nice. It's dry now. So what I'm going to do is give it a couple of coats of gloss varnish. varnish. And this is an acrylic gloss varnish to bring it up into a nice shine, but also to protect that paper that's on the outside. So I'm going to brush this on rather than spray it, and then I'll show you what it looks like completely finished. So that's come out really, really well. I love it. I think the gloss varnish looks amazing on there. It's finished that off lovely. I'm going to probably put cotton buds or something in it because I've got a small bathroom attached to this studio because this is supposed to be the main bedroom of the house. And what I'm going to do is over time decorate that bathroom out to be more steampunky. I think this will fit in there lovely with some cotton buds in. Let me know in the comments what you think. Hope you've enjoyed this project. Really simple, great upcycle, and I've had fun doing it. Move that like button, hit that subscribe button. Check the video that's coming up next. I think you'll love it. It's another upcycle, and most of all, enjoy your crafting. Bye.